I'm gonna keep it down to the top 10 prospects as far as college and perhaps after college. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it that way. Let's see. Starting off out of the class of 2022, Carlos Alexander, 5'11" point guard, plays for Team Thrill AAU program. He will be at St. Francis next year. He's very flashy, floor general, competitive as they come. Sometimes it's too competitive. You can see him about to boil over, but I'm the type of guy that I like that. I'd rather him be a little bit over the edge than just be nonchalant when he play. You just got to bring him in. All-around threat at point guard. He filled the stat sheet in the freshman game, finishing with 16 points, 10 free throws, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists, and a block. I'm going to tell you why he got 10 free throws. They couldn't keep him in front of him. And he's a crafty finisher. He already kind of got that Kyrie-esque finishing ability. Both hands, be on one side of the basket, use his left hand, reverse on the other side so the bigs don't have a shot at blocking him. He's a tough cover. He's physical, kind of like how a lot of Baltimore guards are. They will hit you before you hit them, and, he don't back down from anybody. The only thing missing in his game right now, he's young, man. He's just a freshman. One thing we're missing is a, consistent jumper. Once he had that, it's pretty much a wrap. Nothing anybody could do about that. He averaged about 16. He had about 16 in that game. It's easy for him to see once he get a jumper, every game be averaging between 20 and 25 with ease. Player, I spoke about, been on the cover, Ace Baldwin. We mentioned him a lot on the show. 6'1" point guard, St. Francis. He's the guy in front of Carlos. So I guess when he leaves, Carlos will be the guy taking over. That's how they do it in St. Francis. It's just a revolving door, kind of like what you would see at Kentucky, so to speak, out of Baltimore. Plays for Team BBC. He's a junior. He graduated. He's in the class of 2020. He's just a consummate point guard, man. Everything you would want in a point guard, he has. He has handles, excellent core vision, high IQ, savvy defender. Steadily improving jumper. I mean, he's getting way more confident than what I saw from last season, where he's hitting step back threes with ease and stuff like that. He still has room to grow in that area, but at least he's confident. Like, you have to guard him now. It's not like I could just back off and play for the drive. He's arguably, to me, the top point guard in the area. I know this guy, Jeremy Rose down in Florida 6 or whatnot, that can, make that claim as well. But he's in the mix for sure. He finished with 16 points, 3 3-pointers, 5 steals and 2 assists in the junior game. The next one up, R.J. Blakeney. Man, Andre Iguodala-esque athleticism. That's what he has. He's a freak. He's by far the most athletic guy there. Even in warm-ups, going between the legs with ease. Other guys just pulling around saying, man, you got it, man. I ain't even messing with that, man. You know what I'm saying? 6'5", guard, forward. He's a wing because his perimeter skills is still catching up. Plays for St. Maria Goretti. Plays for Team BBC. Like I said, he's the best. He was the best athlete at the event, regardless of the class. And to me, he was also one of the best prospects. Like I said, do a lot of damage in college and possibly do damage at the pros. Soared to 23 points and 10 rebounds. He showcased an improved handle and a mid-range jumper. One dribble pull-up is automatic. Now he has to work on expanding at the three-point range. There's always room to grow and also become a better playmaker. Once he adds that, man, it's just a matter of where he's going to be drafted, because it's scary where he could be when you see his athleticism, and you kind of can see his ceiling when you see what Iguodala and those guys have done, carving out their own niche with those long athletic wings, whatever, with point forward skills. That's something he can develop, and I see him kind of in that mode. Right now, he's only being, offered by mid-majors and stuff like that, but to me, he has high major talent. So, I think this season he's going to blow up big. Ryan Conway, sophomore, 6'1" guard out of Delaney, plays for Team Mello, class of 2021. I mean, he was the MVP. He finished with an event high of 36 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. He's a smaller, less explosive Alonzo Trier. For people that don't remember, Alonzo Trier, when he was in high school around here in Marshalls, he was averaging dang near 40 points a game. He's just a natural scorer. It's easy for him. It's nothing like tough shots. He can score from all 3 levels, 3-pointers, one dribble pull-ups, mid-range, drive and get to the free throw line. The only thing that I see that's kind of missing is a post game and everything. And he probably might have that. He just no one has defended him to force that out of him so far. So he don't need to use it. But he, I remember seeing him in 8th grade. He was just a scorer. What I did see in this game, his all-around skill has improved, where he's becoming more of a playmaker to complement his elite scoring, so he could be a true point guard. He could be able to blend both, which is not the easiest thing to do for a lot of point guards. He has solid vision, and he could pass when he sees, but sometimes he does get tunnel vision where I'm just looking to score. You know what I'm saying? And when you can score like he does, it's kind of hard to fault him at times, but he's improving in that area. And once he's able to master making guys better and scoring and control, he will control the game, and there'll be no stopping him. And that's just kind of, not that it's not difficult now to stop him, but once he do that, it's over. I mean, it's just gonna be child's play. Another guard, freshman guard, Antonio Hamlin. He actually won MVP, 6'2" guard, going to Mount St. Joseph, Team Thrill. You're gonna hear a lot about Team Thrill. They got a top flight AAU program, and that's Will Barton's program. They got a lot of top flight Baltimore youngers that could do it. He was the freshman game MVP. He did whatever he wanted. He's more of a big guard, a bruising guard that like to slash and attack, use his size to try to overwhelm guards and attack bigs to get to the free throw line. He posted 22 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds, leading the white team to victory. He basically scored 14 points going drive to the basket, 14 of his 22. He's a real physical guard, and even at that age, they really have no answer. But even guys older and stuff, he's a tough guard. But in the rare time he was in trouble, he made timely passes to teammates for easy scores. He's just a tough-nosed, gritty guard, and he will have no problems adjusting to the physicality in MIAA this upcoming year. Another guy I've spoke about, Justin Lewis, man-child, been offered by every program in the area and beyond. 6'4" out of Poly, plays for Team Mello, junior class of 2020. Man-child, done everything. He's a force inside. Very few in the high school ranks can deal with him because of that. He's mean, he's vicious, and it's clear what he come to do. When he catches the ball inside, he's not looking to just go up soft. He's looking to put the opponents and his teammates, whoever's under there in the basket, which I love. With his combination of athleticism and size, he's also a highly effective rebounder and shot blocker. And so he's not just giving it to you on one aspect. It's both ends. He runs the floor like a guard. He gets off the ground quick, and he gets high. He finished with 14 points and 8 rebounds. Only thing I'm waiting to see, man, and he got a little bit of a hand. I'm not going to say he can't even dribble. Only thing I'm waiting to see is the jumper. When he add that where you got to come out, then, he's going to be able to do it's just going to be real ugly. I mean, even more ugly than what it is. Deshaun Phillips, I remember seeing him the first time last year in Maryland State when he helped lead Dunbar to the state championship. He kind of he reminds me of a guy y'all probably remember, Julius Hodge, that used to play NC State. To New York. He got that kind of skill set pointing forward. He's a little bit smaller than Hodge, but he's about 6'5". He's going to Mount Zion prep. He's prepping for a year to get more competition so he can, get more national recognition. Plays for Team BBC, class of 2019. Real skill, has all the tools, even at 6'5". That's what makes him special. Lethal taking defenders off the bounce, finishing at the rim. Solid mid-range shooter, impactful rebounder, and defender due to his length. He can affect the game in so many ways, which was evident because of his 15.4 rebound, 3 steal, 2 assists, and 2 block performance. And he's gonna feel the stat sheet. You're gonna feel him in a lot of ways. He's an under the radar talent, but I think playing with Mount Zion Prep, he's gonna blow up. He's gonna get a lot of more national recognition. And higher offers, man. Simple as that. Anthony Walker, man, he's by far, if it was a guy that I would put my money on to be a pro, pro, get to the league, is him. 6'9", freak athlete. The only one that was more athletic than him was Blakely, but he's not far behind. But he's taller than Blakely. He's 6'9". He actually was at Perry Hall. He helped lead Perry Hall to the state championship last March. He's transferring to Brewster Academy, trying to prep a year and go against the elite talent. Plays for Team BBC. He was MVP of the game after posting 24 points and 6 rebounds. But his combination of size, athleticism, length, toughness, is tailor-made to make an impact right now in college. And we see so many wings with his ability in the NBA right now making millions, just to go out there and play defense. Like, he could do that right now. He might not be strong enough right now, but he can get that. That's not really that hard. With his motor and his improving skill set, he's working out with Jamal Hayward and everything. It was a couple times in transition he stopped the pop for 3, whereas just last March he went there to shoot a 3. You know what I'm saying? So that tells you he's working, adding in the perimeter game to his repertoire or whatnot. But once he fully blends both, I mean, it's only a matter of time before he gets to the league. And even talking with Jamal would have him playing against pros, and all the pros for the most part this summer, out of all the youngins, they pointed at him like, yo, he got it. Like, he's gonna make $1 million. Like, he's gonna make millions. It's just clear, man. But he just got to keep working. You know, just because we saying it now, you know, obviously if he get in his head, get cocky and start working, you know how it is. He won't get there. If he continues to work, you know, he's on a fast path to getting into the NBA. I mean, it's no doubt at all. But last but not least, Jamal West. He was at Dunbar as well. He was that inside guy that complimented Deshaun Phillips. That's why they won state. But when I saw him last during the state championship run, he played mostly in the post. You know, he was a double-double machine. I think he averaged about 12 points and 17 rebounds during that state tournament run. What I didn't know is he got a perimeter game now. Like, he's been working. I mean, it was clear. He was taking guys off the dribble, smaller guards.
How tall is he?
He's about 6'5". He's going to St. Francis. He transferred from Dunbar to St. Francis because St. Francis played more of a national schedule, tougher schedule.
Right.
Now you could say he's a guard forward, which I believe in versatility. The more versatile you are, the more a coach can use you. Whereas you just being stuck being one type of player or whatnot. And with his improved skill set, you got to give it to him. Like, he can play like 4 different positions at the high school level right now. He had a 19.6 rebound performance in the junior game. Displayed improved ball handling, shooting, and athleticism. He routinely went up to dunk on guys in traffic, you know, catching lobs or whatnot. High motor, and what I didn't know is he got 6'10" wingspan. So it's possibility he's still growing, which is why he could play bigger than what he is and get away with it. And now that he's adding his perimeter skill has improved so that much, now colleges can recruit him as a guard instead of an undersized forward, which will help him get bigger offers if he do his thing at St. Francis, which I feel he will. Just pay attention. He's gonna move up the ladder. He's gonna move up the radar and up the rankings real quick. It's gonna be real quick this upcoming season.
Man, I know about the bigger list, so we gotta let people know.
Yeah, definitely. Good over to finestmag.com. I got about, like I said, around 30 players I had to highlight. Obviously, for show purposes, I had to narrow it down to what I feel are the top. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, high major, the pro prospects from that event. But there were a number of players that easily, as they develop, can easily be in that mix because it was that deep. Like Kobe did an amazing job with the players he selected, and I like how the fact he made it competitive where it was certain guys at different positions where they were close, and y'all face each other, let's see what it is. And, I remember one game, the deepest class was the 2020 game, the junior team. They got the most high-profile guys, and they were kind of dogging it. And he waited till halftime. He was pissed, So he called him over, coaching staff, everybody, like, yo, this ain't an all-star game. This is a real game. Like, play, like, compete. Because if it's going to be like that, man, we can just get the next game started and we can save people time, you know what I'm saying? Then they came out second half and went at it, you know what I'm saying? So, respecting him, man, I respect his vision, what he was trying to get accomplished, eliminate politics, all that shoe company stuff, man. Just bring the best kids out, let them rumble in front of friends and family, and have, media, scouts there and all that, and, whoever stood out, get the proper shine.
There's definitely nothing wrong with that. Also, thanks for taking me back with the Julius Hodge reference.
Hey, man.
Man, I haven't heard that name in forever, and he was a problem. If you don't know who he is, give him a quick Google so you get a better idea what he's talking about. Man, like, you really took me back with the Julius Hodge reference. But we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to jump into this WNBA segment. You're watching The Focus. Welcome back to The Focus. As promised, we're going to get started with this WNBA segment. So we already told you guys about the games that are being played tonight. Those are elimination games. First 2 rounds of the WNBA are elimination games. Then they move on to the next round. That's the best of 3. And then the finals. It's a compressed season. It's a compressed schedule. It's just that quick. If you're wondering why the Washington Mystics aren't playing tonight, they're a top 3 seed. If you're top 4 seed, you get a bye. So they're waiting. They're ready to play. One of the 2 teams that wins tonight, Thursday they'll be hosting them at GW at 6:30. So, regular season awards.
Dun dun dun.
Where do y'all want to start? We can go. We can literally like list one. Just everybody share. How do you want to do it?
It's up to you. We could just run them down each. You know, man.
All right, we can run them down. Go ahead. You
want me to go first?
Yeah.
MVP, I'm going to get the Liz Cambage,
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to mispronounce her name, but I get different pronunciations all the time from the Dallas Wings. She led the league in scoring at 23 a game, second in rebounds per game, 9.7, fourth in field goal percentage, 58.9, and fifth in blocks, 1.69. I mean, she just had a monster year. She dominated from start to finish. It wasn't even close. Rookie of the year, no-brainer, Asia Wilson, Las Vegas Aces. Averaged 20.7 points, 8 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.7 blocks, on 46% shooting from the field, 77 from the line. Let's see, Defensive Player of the Year, Natasha Howard. I'm gonna give it to her from the Seattle Storm. She was second in the league in blocks at 2 a game, and 11th in steals, 1.3, which is great for a forward. Most improved. Sixth Woman of the Year. I'm gonna give it to Jonquil Jones from Connecticut Sun. She averaged 11.8 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, 55% from the field, 46% from 3. That's insane. That's crazy.
Yes.
Good Lord, she was stroking that joint. Most improved. I'm staying in DC. I'm gonna give it to Natasha Cloud. During the 2017 season, when you played for the Mystics, during the 2017 season, she averaged 4 points, 2.9 assists, and 2.5 rebounds, so 31% shooting from the field, 38 from the 3, 34% from free throw line. This year, she more than doubled in like all those categories. She averaged 8.6 points, 4.6 assists, 3.2 rebounds, 43% from the field, 38.6% from 3, 77% from the free throw line. She just improved in every aspect. I got to get into her. And she may not be the best player on the Mystics, but she's dang sure the most important. She made the engine go. Coach of the Year, I'm giving to Nikki Collins from the Dream. They were picked to finish 9th when the season started. They locked up the 2nd seed last week and finished in 23-11, including a 4-1 close to the regular season after All-Star before Angel McCarthy went down for the season. My All-NBA teams, the first team, Liz Cambage, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, Elena Deladon, Brittany Griner. Second team, Asia Wilson, Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Candace Parker. My all-rookie team, Asia Wilson, Ariel Atkins, Mystics, Diamond DeShields, Kelsey Mitchell, and Victoria Vivians. And on my all-defensive team, the first team, Elena Beard from the Sparks, Brittany Griner from the Mercury, Natasha Howard from the Storm, Maya Moore from the Lynx led the league in steals, Sylvia Fowles from the Lynx, and the Nega Agumake, I can never get her first name right. And the second team, Candace Parker, Jessica Breland, Brianna Stewart, Gabby Williams, and Elizabeth Williams.
All right. So some of them we were similar at, some we were a little bit different at. Octavia, you want to jump in before I go?
No, I want to compare my list to y'all list because y'all like pros.
I guess. So I'm going Stewie with MVP. The Storm were 26-8, 13-4 at home on the road. She averaged right under 22 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.4 blocks a game. Defensive Player of the Year, I kind of went outside the box, but she's kind of been flying under the radar as a two-way player. I'm going with Tiffany Hayes from Atlanta. She posted a defensive rating 94.2 this entire year. Watching Atlanta, even before McCourtney went down, she's usually the person they try to put to go set out fires in terms of guarding the opposing team's best perimeter threat. The Atlanta Dream finished 23-11 on the season. As Cardell said, they finished the season hot, and she's one of the bigger parts as to why they finished so hot, considering they lost, Angel. Rookie of the Year, again, no-brainer, Asia, for all the reasons Cardell said. Only caveat I'm going to throw on is before Asia, they were 8-26. After getting Asia, they were 14-20 this year. And Had they won the game against the Wings, they'd be playing tonight in the first round of the WNBA playoffs. Most improved. It was a tough decision. I had Cloud there, and then I gave it to Natasha Howard. Like Cloud, went from playing a supporting role, coming off the bench, to starting this year. In the 2 years she was in Minnesota, this is Natasha Howard, she started one game. This year she started 33 of the 34 games, went from 4.3 points a game and 2.4 rebounds to 13 points a game, 6.4 rebounds. I'm going to say 2 blocks. It's 1.9. 2 blocks a game and 1.2 steals. 6th Woman of the Year. Again, I'm with Cardell here, Jonquel Jones. As he talked about what she was doing, she started last year averaging 15 and 12, started all 34 games. Talk about how deep Connecticut is. She came off the bench this season. She started a few games, but her shooting percentage went up this year after coming off the bench. So it's not like it messed with her head or whatnot, going from being a starter and moving to being a key reserve. Coach of the Year, it's hard to choose this as well. I went with Dan Hughes with Seattle just because they were very, very consistent from start to finish this year. It was hard to not to pick Atlanta's head coach because of what they went through. Literally the first half of the season, nobody saw this coming. And then you see where they are right now. They're the 2nd seed. So they're one of the 2 teams with a double bye. First team all defensive teams for me, I had Natasha Cloud, Elena Beard, Tiffany Hayes, Rebecca Brunson, Sylvia Fowles. Second team for me, Renee Montgomery, Maya Moore, Alyssa Thomas, Elizabeth Williams, and Natasha Howard. All WNBA teams. First team, I had Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Elena Deladon, Stewie, and then Liz Kambash, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Kayla McBride, Maya Moore, Candace Parker, and Sylvia Fowles is what made my second all-WNBA team. The all-rookie team, Kelsey Mitchell, Ariel Atkins from the Mystics, Diamond DeShields, Victoria Vivians, and Asia Wilson.
Ooh, you guys are... So, I'm going to be completely honest, right? I made my list. I wanted y'all to go first because I like to make sure I line myself up with you guys with this to make sure I'm in the right ballpark. And I'm kind of with you guys basically on everything. So, Rookie of the Year, like you said, no brainer, Aja Wilson. I actually went with Wilson with the MVP for Stewie. For most improved, honestly, I put Natasha Howard first. But everything that Cardell just said about Natasha Cloud, to be able to basically double everything you did the year before, I just feel like that speaks a lot of volumes. And we always talk about how a lot of players in the WNBA don't get their just due when they deserve it. So I definitely think that she would deserve most improved. Because like you said, she's a very, very, very important part of that team. When she's not there, it's hard for them to go full throttle every game. I was right with you guys for Coach of the Year as well. I went Nikki Collins, just like you said about, the dream being picked to be basically last and to be able to, have the season that they had. It has to start with the coach. It always starts with the head. So I went there. Also, I was the same with you guys for 6th Woman of the Year with Jonquel Jones. It's crazy to think she comes off the bench. But, you have to kind of give just due where it's due. And my only one that I didn't come with you guys is Defensive Player of the Year. I went Sylvia Fowles. Defense is something that's very near and dear to my heart when it comes to basketball, and I just feel like she has the whole all-around package with it. So that's what I chose. I didn't do my first team and everything else.
It's all good. But give you a week.
You guys kind of basically rounded it all out. I'm pretty sure everything I would have said, y'all done already said anyway. So save us some time. That's what I was doing.
So those of you tuning in tonight, go ahead and turn on the WNBA playoff games on another screen, another device. Check those out. And, one of those 2 teams that win tonight will be playing your Washington Mystics.
Do you know which game, the 8:30 or the 10:30 game?
Nah, they reseed them.
Okay. Oh, they reseed them. Cool.
So they do a lot of fun stuff.
And both games on ESPN too, so no excuses.
Yep. Getting ready to start now. The 8:30 game should be about to kick off soon.
All right, so before we go into our second break of this week's show, 9-4-50 breakdown, Jamal Hayward, this week's installment, different versions of a shot fake or a pump fake. Again, different versions of a shot fake or a pump fake.
Definitely need those.
We'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
you saw the difference?
Yeah.
So I'm here again. Slow. Quick.
All right.
So now, there's two different versions of a pump fake.
Right.
So slow pump fake, jab, quick stop. The other one also, if you take that dribble, swing over, or if I'm going this way, swing over.
All right.
So I don't want that. Quick stop. Slow pump fake. So you saw the difference?
Yeah.
So I'm here again. Slow. Quick stop.
All right.
So now, there's two different versions of a pump fake.
Right.
So slow pump fake, jab, quick stop. The other one also, if you take that dribble, swing over, or if I'm going this way, swing over.
All right.
So I don't want that. Quick stop.
Welcome back. So without further ado, we don't have time for a drum roll, but it's.
Like, no.
I'm sorry. Would you like to continue your own personal drum roll?
No, I'm good. I'm sorry.
Sure. I feel like this gonna be a heavy vibe all.
No.
Part of the
Short
show.
and sweet, straight to the point.
They won the Super Bowl.
Man.
She's
I
still
mean,
on
I
that.
didn't
we got
say
you all
it.
summer with it,
the
right?
arrogance? All right.
I didn't say it.
She literally started a drum roll for herself. But look, I'm gonna turn my mic off. The floor is yours. First NFL segment of the year.
Okay, guys. So, of course, everybody knows that we're in the preseason now. We've already 2 weeks in. This week coming up, starting on Thursday, it's going to be the third week of the preseason. So I just chose to keep it kind of short and sweet this week about the NFC East. Just some things that happen in the preseason and then some things that the team has to look forward to as the season progresses. So I'm going to start with the Giants. Right now, the Giants are 1-1 in the preseason with a 20-10 loss to the Browns and then a 30-17 win versus the Lions. Obviously, Eli Manning didn't play, so backup quarterback Davis Webb handled the bulk of the passing game in the second game against the Lions. He ended up with 14 of 20 on passes, 140 yards, and 1 touchdown. The big story coming out of the Giants camp right now, of course, you always try to see what they're going to do with Odell, if they're going to re-sign him, if they're going to give him more money, of course. But everybody's really talking about Saquon Barkley right now. Of course, if you didn't see it, his very first NFL run went for 39 yards. It was pretty impressive for that to be his very first run as an NFL pro. But right now, Saquon Barkley is nursing a hamstring injury, which has him sidelined currently. So right now he's working to get back into practice. I'm not sure. I didn't hear much about if he's slated to play in this next preseason game. I would doubt it just because the closer they get to the season, more and more that the starters start to rest. So I wouldn't bank on it, but you never know. The Giants right now are really hoping to, I think their biggest focus is their defense, to try to get their defense back to the caliber that has been in the past with the Michael Strahans and everything like that. They have a good chance at it. To me, it's really just chemistry with them to see how it's going to work out. But they're back to see if they can kind of get rid of this stench that's been on them the past couple of years. So we'll see how that works out for them. I'm going to go to the Cowboys next. So right now the Cowboys are 0-2 in the preseason with a 24-21 loss to the 49ers and then a 21-13 loss to the Bengals. Dak Prescott went 10 of 15 for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. And then the backup to Zeke, of course, Rod Smith had 13 carries for 49 yards and Terrence Williams pulling in the lone touchdown from Dak. The biggest takeaway for me right now is that their starters look really good. If you watch the game, their starters, pitched a shutout in the first half. It wasn't really until the second string, third string, and whoever else is left got in the game. It's when you could see the difference. Basically, their second strings are really kind of the reason why they're in the record that they are right now for the preseason. So it just kind of leaves concerns with how deep are they as a team. If somebody gets hurt, because, they had a lot of injuries last year. How are they going to be able to fare with that? Although their offensive line looks well, they did a lot of shuffling in and out with their offensive line during the preseason games as well. Tyron Smith is back. So just kind of see how they're going to, how everything's going to work out for them in the season. I think their biggest concern really is staying healthy and staying out of trouble. I feel like those are the things that's really been plaguing them the last couple of years, a lot of injuries. And then, of course, all the Zeke drama of last year. Hopefully it's behind him. His head is on straight, and you won't have to worry about knowing if he's going to play next week or not. He should be there every game. I'm going to go to the Redskins next. Of course, I have to leave the best for last. So the Redskins right now are 1-1 in the preseason. They lost their first game to the Patriots 26-17. And not only did that happen, they lost their rookie running back, Geis, who was slated to be, pretty much it sounded like that he was going to be the starter. After that happened, after the first game, everybody started talking about Piron, Kelly, Thompson having to be the running back by committee again this year. But if you haven't heard, you live here, that's crazy. Adrian Peterson has signed a 1-year vet minimum deal with the Redskins. From what I'm hearing, it's not guaranteed at all. He has to go through the process. He has to be able to show that he can, play the position, do what he needs to do, be in shape, and be an asset to the team. Me personally, I don't think that'll be any issue. I think Adrian Peterson is He's a vet in the game. He knows what he needs to do. I think he's had a lot of time off, a lot of time to nurse any old injuries that he had. Although I don't think he'll be the Adrian Peterson of the past that everybody's used to from Minnesota, but I think he'll be a really good addition to the Redskins. And like we were saying earlier, I think that based off of all of the running backs that were kind of left out there, I think this was the best option for them. And I think it'll actually work out. We'll just see how it will work out and what will happen with the other running backs by committee. If they'll stay, if they'll leave, what'll happen. Of course, everybody else wanted to know about the new quarterback, Alex Smith. Of course, in their second game, they defeated the Jets 15-13. Alex Smith was 4 of 6 for 48 yards. Of course, he didn't play much with him being the starter. Running backs Piron and Kelly combined for 8 carries and 47 yards. Chris Thompson also did not play in that game. Basically, the story from the second game was Dustin Hopkins, who scored all 15 of the Redskins' points. So it's a good sign for me because that means the kicker is kind of locked in. The one thing that they need to do is kick, and they have to be locked in on that. Although it sounds so simple, we see every year kickers missing chip shots, extra points, and everything. So for him to actually kick the game-winning field goal with time expiring to win the game after a tough week with joint practices with the Jets and a lot of back and forth and a lot of fighting and a lot of arguing. I'm sure the Redskins were glad to at least get that win under the belt, although we all know, and I'm not even talking about just the Redskins, I'm talking about across the entire league preseason, is not the end-all be-all for what your season is going to be. So whether they won or lost, that's not determining their record for the year, but we'll see what happens. And last but not least, your Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. You guys don't have to do all that. It's cool. Right now, they are 0-2 in the preseason with a 31-14 loss to the Steelers and a 37-20 loss to the Patriots. Although, like I just said, preseason may not mean much to a lot of people. It's already starting to, at least in my head, I don't know if everybody else is thinking it, are the Eagles going to have the typical Super Bowl hangover that we see a lot? I don't say every year, but that you see a lot. Starting quarterback Carson Wentz still not sure if he'll be ready for game 1. Although he says that he feels great and he's able to do it. He did return to 11 practices as well. He's going to leave it up to the team and the coaches to figure out if he's going to play. Side note, my personal opinion, if he's not 100% to go on game 1, please do not play him. We will be okay. Let him get some rest. Back up in Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles is also nursing a lot of injuries. He had neck issues as well as a shoulder injury, which took him out of the second preseason game, where Tom Brady did play all of the first half. It's crazy to think that Tom Brady is 41 and he's playing a whole first half in the preseason. Like, it's nothing going on. Like, the season's not around the corner. But, of course, that worked out for them with them winning and Tom Brady staying not injured. So with Foles going out for most of that game, third-string quarterback Nate Sudfeld handled the bulk of the game. He ended with 22 of 39, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He looked really good, but he's a third-string quarterback, so you probably won't get to see him that much. But at least you know that he'll be there if something catastrophic happens. My biggest thing with the offense right now, with Blunt gone, Jay Ajayi will be the starting running back. He had 6 carries for 23 yards. All in all, the Eagles look very, very, very sloppy in the first 2 preseason games with a lot of mental mistakes and a lot of penalties. So you can see that they have a lot to kind of work on with that. Bright spot that I like, Shelton Gibson looked really, really good. He looks like he'll probably make the team as the 5th wide receiver. He did everything that you should do trying to make a team. Running, being the gunner, he caught a touchdown pass. He caught an incredible 57-yard pass as well. So it looks like he's on track to kind of make that roster spot. And then last but not least, with the defense, defense looked a little bit shaky as well. They have to kind of retune to get back into last year's form. They did lose a lot of, I won't say key players, just because they had a big mix of a lot of players rotated in and out on defense. But with Michael Kendricks gone, Vinnie Curry gone, Bo Allen gone, Kendricks went to the Browns, and Bo Allen and Vinnie Curry both in Tampa. You see that they have to kind of get everything worked back out. But it should be an interesting season in NFC East. I feel like everybody has a good shot. Everybody's made good strides. So I'm really interested to see how the season's going to go.
All right, first.
That was such a
Phil segment.
that was such a humility filled.
Man, just so,
wasn't it? It's just a humble brag.
Humble,
that's all. Just a humble brag.
Look forward
Fly
to
Eagles
that
fly.
each and every week. All right, so before we jump into rapid fire, because Cardell has some heat for us, big week from Sunday to Sunday for the Black and Red. DC United's goal at the start of last week was to get 9 points. That meant 3 wins, and they did just that. They started last Sunday with an exciting finish. Told you guys all about it. Couldn't really even process it. Took me like half the week to do that. From Rooney's game-saving tackle to the 35-yard dime to Acosta's header that got him the win over Orlando. On Wednesday, he hosted the Portland Timbers. Billy Meade played his first game of his second stint with his homegrown team. They surrendered an early goal in the first half. Wasn't really Hamid's fault, even though he still got a hand on it. So for him, normal him. Might have still got that save. It's been Austin alluded to in the press conference. But either way, in the past, early goal kind of did a team away. Nowadays, DC United went out and scored 4 goals to get to beat Timber and get that win. Shout out to Darren Maddox. He came in. He got the 4th goal against his former team. I know that had they feel very, very good. The highlights that you're watching, this past Sunday, they beat the New England Revolution 2-0. Goals were scored by who else but Luciano Acosta. If you guys just saw that goal, it was a beautiful pass from Paul Areola, slid all the way across the box. And Lucho, another shot, degree of difficulty kind of high to beat the keeper at that absurd angle. Then Zoltan Steiber late in the game, New England. So someone got 2 yellow cards, which has been a theme for teams playing DC United. So New England was playing a man down. Still, DC United got a late goal by Zoltan Steiber to put that one away. And again, they wrapped up this week successfully. They climbed out the basement of the Eastern Conference. They're currently in 8th place. The win over New England cut the 5-point lead New England had over them down to 2. And they've played 3 to 5 less games than everybody else in the East. So they're in a good place. This week they traveled to New York to face the Red Bulls. So that's a big one. As O'Neal Fisher said to me after the game, they're kind of treating every game like it's a final. And they need to, because to make the playoffs, they have to keep the same mentality, keep the same energy rolling, and hopefully they can continue to pile up these results. Cardell, what you got for us, man?
Drum roll.
Drum roll for somebody else. How about that?
She just trying to cover
I spread the love.
I appreciate it. We're going to start with this. Shannon Fry says young Lakers may not truly understand what it's like to play with LeBron James. Talking to Eric Garcia Gunderson, the USA Today, he said, his quote was, "I'll tell you this, the young Lakers are arguably the most talented group in the NBA. I mean talented in terms of experience, years playing in the Western Conference, and their overall position. I think the thing they're going to come to And I think a lot of guys are going to have to deal with this. There's who you expect to be, and then who you are when you play with LeBron. It's two different things. I don't know if they truly understand what it's like to play with him because there's no room for mistakes. Because in all actuality, he could do it himself. He could lead a team to 40 wins by himself. I think for all of them, they're going to have a reality check, not only them, but the people around them. There's going to say not a growing period, but, a humility period. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, we've seen it. If they pay attention, they see it. You kind of have to change your game when it comes to playing with LeBron. He's that dominant that it's going to be a learning curve for them, especially because they are so young. But I think he's kind of head on. I don't know if he should be the person that's spearheading this conversation, but yeah, I mean, because there's proof in it. We've seen the Chris Boshes, we've seen the Kevin Loves, we've seen the Kyrie Irvings that have had to kind of take a step back in their minds from their game to play alongside of LeBron. So I definitely think it has a valid merit to it.
I mean, we've been saying this for quite a while, so there's nothing new around these parts. Chris Bosh told the absolute truth like 5 or 6 years ago. Everybody laughed at him, tried to call him a liar. It's the truth. I think what's going to be interesting to me this time is this is the youngest group he's had, that he's going to be playing with. At least I feel like going from Miami, those guys, they were peers. In Cleveland, it was more, still more of a veteran-laden team. I feel like these guys might be more talented, but I mean, I think Channing's right. It's going to be an adjustment period to deal with as a young player.
Yeah, I mean, he's not saying nothing wrong. He would know. He played with him, you know what I'm saying? And they're not that young. It's just the high-profile guys are young, like Kuzma and Ball. Right. But they got Rondo, Stevenson. Right. They got Betts. What's my man from? They used to play for the Pistons, shooting guard.
KCP.
Caldwell Pope, all those guys. Is Lopez still with them? He get traded.
I think he's gone, but McGee's still there.
Yeah, JaVale McGee and all that. You've seen they got vets and guys with championship experience, so it's not completely like last year. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about LeBron, and that's going to be their adjustment period. And I think LeBron just going at least at the start, I think he's going to sit back and see what they are. Because, what they don't understand, like, you hear little comments they talk, and I'm like, y'all have no idea what y'all about to experience. It's a different animal. And, it's different when they know you're going to be trash and they coming in and they looking at that game. It's like, man, we can cruise a little bit. Right. Then if you give them a kind of competition, we going to hit you and try to take you out. You know what I'm saying? We saw a couple teams get caught up with that, even one here, and they ended up losing when they got caught up in that BS. You know what I'm saying? But now teams will come out the gate trying to knock you out because LeBron's on that team. You know what I'm saying? And they not trying to have the narrative and all this sports talk be like the Lakers are going to win the championship. Nah, we going to end that real quick. Like,
you got a target now.
Exactly. And also people don't want to say it because they call the Matrix. This might be the time where LeBron might have to sacrifice a little bit. So those young guys can really mature and blossom. So when playoff time comes, they're ready. Because I had them kind of making the playoffs without LeBron. So with him, it's the expectation like y'all going to make the playoffs. Y'all should make the playoffs. Maybe even possibly make the second round, depending on the draw, who y'all get, who y'all have to go through. But he might have to make the sacrifice and stuff like that for the first time in his career. Like you might not have to be, might not be able to be on the ball no more. You might have to lead up to Rondo and Lonzo to do all that stuff like that. And you might have to find other ways to impact the game off the ball, which would be a first for him. So it's going to be growing pains for all around. That's why chemistry is key. A lot of people don't understand that. They think you just have time to put them together and it's supposed to work. It's not like that. Everybody got to get used to one another. So we'll see. But I do expect them to make the playoffs and, possibly the second round or whatnot, depending on who they draw. Kobe Bryant, league, big three, said that well, he didn't actually say, he was jokingly saying that, Kobe will come out of retirement and play next year. And, his publicist came out and said he's definitely staying retired. What are your thoughts on people kind of advocating for him and getting on the big three?
I just think it's another storyline. There was a clip of somebody asking Shaq about how he felt about LeBron being a Laker and was he going to come back to play with him, and he was like, nah, Kobe going to come out, he going to play with him. And people ran with that for a little while. Like, people was like, really? And I think his wife had to come out and say, nope, sorry, he's not going to come back, guys. I just think it's that time where people just sometimes don't want to let go of certain things. I'm sure that if he wanted to, he could. But I don't think he's in that space anymore. I think Kobe has kind of moved on and evolved from being a player in the game. Of course, he's still in, the realm of it and the basketball world and the NBA world. But I just don't see it. You don't see, and this is not to knock anybody that's playing in the Big Three. You don't see like Kobe-esque players playing in the Big Three.
Reach, yeah.
You feel me? Like, and that's not a knock on any of the players that's playing in the Big Three, because there's a lot of great players from the past that are playing in the Big Three, but you can't really say like Kobe-esque players are playing in the Big Three. And I just don't see it happening.
She spoke for both of us.
Okay. My thing on this is I can never see if it's one player you could point to where you could say they literally maximize every ounce of talent, will that they had when they played. It was Kobe. Like, he literally played until his body just kept breaking down.
Basically,
he
yeah.
Just like, I gotta go, man. Like, I can't. You see what I'm saying? And there's nothing left to prove. I mean, like you said, you kind of touched on it. The Big Three, whereas guys you respect, you like when they played. It's more about guys who honestly maybe had their careers cut short. They didn't get to leave on their terms. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's their little chance to kind of live, go out with the limelight, so to speak, on a different stage or whatnot. Like you said, the all-time greats, they carry such a big load throughout their careers, man. They good. You know what I'm saying? Like, they evolved, they moved on. Look, I did what I did. I'm tired. I don't have nothing else to prove. Y'all can debate that crap in the barbershop. I moved on. It's a reason why you don't really hear Michael Jordan again. You don't hear him at all talk about that GOAT debate. Man, he's like, look, man, I'm over here trying to win a championship as an owner. Like, look, my resume speaks for itself. Same thing with Kobe. His 5 rings, he played 20 years. There's nothing left to prove, man. If a young player need help, he's an open book, but he's moving on. He already don't want to Oscar. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, he has evolved from
right.
it. Like, he's always going to be in the NBA basketball world and family and everything. But he out here getting Oscars and having short stories and documentaries and stuff. He ain't worried about that. And he just had another baby, not that long ago. He's kind of, I think he's past that.
Exactly. Another one, Nuggets rookie Michael Porter Jr., they asked him a question, asking him to guess Vince Carter's first NBA season, and he said 1987, and he was serious. So yeah, what do you think about that, man?
You told me that earlier. And,
that's funny.
I knew it was bad because he never tells me rapid fire questions, but he told me this one. It's like the information age. Just do better. just do better, man. Like,
Come on, that's
87 though. Like,
yo, come on, man. He would literally be like 55. So if he's 55 still busting y'all, then y'all need to look in the mirror. Like, no.
87 though.
Was Mike's 4th year.
Third.
My bad.
Yeah.
Third. Yeah.
Pippen's rookie year.
Come on,
See what I'm saying?
87,
Reggie
really?
Miller's rookie year. You see what I'm saying?
I just feel like
Shaq in high school.
I just feel like, this is like a prerequisite. Like, when you go on a job interview, you're supposed to do like research about the job you're about to do. That might be part of your research. Like, you should kind of know that. Even if you don't know the exact year he started, come on, bro, 87.
And this goes back to the old school, how we grew up. With the older folks be like, man, you gotta stay out grown folks' business. Because you don't know nothing. It's just like, that's how it is. And these are the same people saying people to go every week and stuff like that. These are the same people. And it's just like, come on, man.
Oh my God! I hope he wasn't serious.
Nah, he will. You can see in his face. He's like, wait.
Nah,
87.
Now I want to see the video. What's the next question?
All right.
87.
I wasn't even born.
Kind of a serious question.
Born, but,
What is the real reason why WNBA players aren't paid more? Is it financial or sexism?
I honestly think it's a little of both. I think that it kind of plays hand in hand. I won't say sexism like down to a T, but because they're women and the game may not be that exciting for fly-by-night fans, they don't get the publicity that the NBA does. And then because they don't get that, they don't garner in the funds for them to be able to pay them. So I think it's a little bit of both. You hear every day, I don't want to see no girl playing basketball unless she look like Skylar Diggins, or she looks, she look good. She got short shorts on or something like that. And those are your your fly-by-night fans, the ones that don't really know what's really going on and can't really appreciate the game being played on that level. Because like we talk about every week, that, to be in the WNBA, you have to be really, really sound, and you have to be a really, really good player because they have a lot of things that they have to do that they can't really get away with. If you were in the NBA, they have to be able to do things. They can't dunk on everybody. They have to have finesse skills. They have to be able to, have basketball smarts. They can't always just rely on their athleticism. Although, don't get me wrong, a lot of them can, but majority of them can't. So I think it's a little bit of both. People, they don't see the value in it. They don't, feel like they need to watch it. It doesn't excite them. So in turning that and it being a business on the other side, it's hard for them to garner funds to pay them. Although I still think they should be able to pay them more than what they're paying them, which is ridiculous. But I think it's a little bit of both.
Cardell, you can answer.
My reply is I think it's more sexism, the financial, because the sexism affects the bottom line, which is financial. If you got, guys that are insecure, that are in control, does, whether it be monetary on the teams or whatnot, how you gonna generate the revenue? It's not gonna be much of an investment to help build the league. And why I say that is a lot of people don't know the WNBA is a subsidiary of the NBA, which means the NBA has to take care of this company. It's a part of the NBA. It's not their own league. It's an extension of the NBA. And back in 2016, the NBA with ESPN, TNT, they extended their TV deal, and it goes until the 2024-2025 season, and it's worth $2.66 billion per year. So this don't end until 2024-2025. You can't take a few of those bills and put it in a women's game so they can get higher pay and better resources. So there's no excuse. That's why they're saying that. And, it's just like y'all could easily fork a little bit. Well, it's not a little bit of money, but for them it is. Fork that over to that league, and they can prosper, which will enable them not to have to go overseas, where they could be here year round promoting the game, which would then your investment will bring in more money because people start paying attention. But I think it comes down to the bottom line that a lot of men are insecure and they can't stand seeing females do things physically they can never do.
That's a great point.
And that's just, because like they say, and like I always say, I've always been a fan of it, and I never feel threatened. It's just like they can hoop. I'm going to go watch. Even in college, they usually play before we did, so I would go watch now. So I had friends that played on the team, all that. They come and sit. It was respect. You don't hear the NBA players saying that. They support it. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to look at it. It's like they say, it's guys that couldn't get off the bench in their high school teams, playing rec leagues, playing in 24-hour fitness, that couldn't cut it, that's saying these things. So, it all goes hand in hand. So just like the NBA, they had to invest in that for that league to grow. You got to do the same thing with the WNBA. And the advantage is, no disrespect, women, sell more in a lot of ways than men do. So if you do that and they kind of get to see certain women more and more and get to know them and everything like that, it helps grow the brand. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'll piggyback right off with you. Yeah, sexism. It's a choice. Just the same way you chose to extend the NBA and make it global, to turn it into this machine that it is. Man, they just started an E-League or whatever. Those dudes are making at least $35K.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. Benefits and all.
E-League?
Yeah, to play 2K.
To
play 2K.
Yeah.
$35,000.
Yes.
Off top.
So they're making the same as WNBA.
And this just happened. So again, it's a choice. As Cardell said, some of those men who may feel insecure probably do. Those are some of the dudes calling the shots. They're the same people that choose to put cornhole on TV instead of a WNBA game. Can't tell me that there's a huge file in this country that's like, man, I got to get home. This cornhole match about to start. Like, I just can't wait. It's a choice. Secondly, we know that the model works because in a couple months with women's college basketball starts,
it's packed.
Lord, that's on TV every week. So we know that it works. How can we hear about them at nauseum for 4 years? Get to the draft, it's a wrap.
You're right.
It's a choice. And they even got a model that works. But, it is what it is.
One more quick question, just a yes or no. It's a thing now with the mental awareness coming out about the NBA, following on the piggyback on Jack McMullen articles. Some NBA owners reportedly want access to mental health files for the players, and the players, you're just like, no, that's confidential. do you think it should remain confidential, or do you think the owner should be able to have access to that?
I think it should remain confidential.
I think it should stay confidential.
Yeah, me too.
Because then you just give an excuse to fire people at will and all that other stuff.
Or not draft them,
yeah.
or deal with them and all that.
You're going to go full NFL with it if you
and it's going to be, exactly, and then you're not going to understand the backgrounds of certain players. And you're not willing to. That's going to be your excuse. So
the test said
your business.
So, as always, stay with us. Get over to Focus TV. Get over to FinestMag.com. I'm on sports.com. See you guys next week. Same time, same place. And watch the WNBA playoffs.
Yeah, man. It's on now.